What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Assassin 4. I'm here with, it's going to be the big three tonight. I'm here with my boy, D, Dr. Esquire Day. What's going on with you, player?
Hey man, what's going on, dog? How you doing?
Good, man, good, man. And then I got my other bro from Charlotte. He always in the know. My boy, T. What's going on with you, man?
Ah, man, thawing out, bro. It's 70 degrees this week. You know what that means.
My
Thawing
man
out,
enjoying
man.
himself. He enjoying himself.
The all white season's coming, y'all.
All right. If you don't know, you don't know. All white season hits different.
Nah, man.
But yeah, man. So yeah, we coming off pretty much championship weekend in the NFL. We had two games. We had the Eagles versus the Washington Commanders, and then we had another matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately for my Washington Commanders, the Cardiac Commanders, our season ended pretty swiftly on Sunday. Yeah, it got ugly for my boys, but all I can say, I'm still proud of the guys, man. Especially QB JD5, Jaden Daniels, what he brought to the city, and shout out to Terry McLaurin and a few other peoples like Lulu and who added to the squad. But just going into the game, I mean, we was pretty much outclassed. We needed another game like we had against the Detroit Lions to even try to be in it, but regardless, what killed us the most was them turnovers. Those turnovers was was really what did us in. Philly pretty much drove a touchdown on each turnover, so they got 21 points off turnovers. And when you have a running back that's hot like Saquon Barkley, you just can't do that. And you have a prolific wide receiver like AJ Brown, you still got Devontae. Turning the ball over, especially on your side of the field, is just not a good recipe at all to get a victory. There's more I can say about the game, but of course, I want to get y'all two thoughts of what y'all saw in the game. I mean, I know it was pretty much a beat up job, but y'all thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I know like it got ugly quickly, but it wasn't gonna. At the start of it, it wasn't looking that way because although y'all only got 3 points on that first drive, y'all converted on fourth down. Y'all were moving the ball downfield. It was just like when you got to the red zone, it just
Hmm.
things got a little challenging. But I still say even like in the first half, y'all were able to put up points. I know Scary Terry had that touchdown that touchdown reception. And yeah, like you said, it's really the turnovers. Tommy Brown fumbled. That I think that was the first fumble of the day, and
Yeah,
then that fumble on the kickoff return,
Nichols.
and then Austin Eckler fumbled later on. I think in the second half. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when you give up touchdowns off of those turnovers like that, and there was, I mean, no one's had a run, no one's had an answer for Saquon all year. I mean, for him to score like that off the first carry, you knew what type of day it was going to be. You know it's going to be a long day trying to stop him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just that's been the story for the most part of the postseason. Uh, whoever wins the turnover battle wins the game, and
Hmm.
if you're able to get points off of turnovers, that's you're more than likely to to win. So yeah, it was Washington had a really great season. I mean, no one saw this coming. You know, for them to go to start the season, for your team to start, the week one being like, okay, let's just see who we have in Jalen Daniels, and by the time we get to the midseason, we're talking. He was in MVP conversations. By the time
Yeah.
we got to week 8, week 9, so for you guys to be competing to get to the Super Bowl it's a really big step, and I think you guys have a plan now set, or at least like you have a foundation to build on for the next 10, 15 years, or depending on how long JD5 plays in the NFL. So now it's not about rebuilding anymore. It's about winning the division. It's about competing for championships. It's about building around JD5, keeping making sure that he has a reliable offense around him. So I mean, yeah, I think there's a change in the NFC East. I think for a while it used to be, the Cowboys and Eagles, that one of them coming out of the division, or at least one of them making the playoffs. Now I think it's the Eagles and the Commanders. So it's going to be interesting to see how you guys build on this next year, and I'm excited for the city of DC. I'm excited for your franchise, and yeah, I think JD5 has shown that for years to come, he's it's gonna be sooner than later that he's gonna be the like one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the league.
Sure that. T.
Yeah, I think the turnovers were just a killer. I think in every game, the team that won the turnover battle uh, won the game in the postseason. So turnovers
Yeah.
are a killer in the playoffs, especially when you're the underdog on the road. And then when you compound the turnovers with Saquon taking it to the house the very first play, kind of just set the tone for the game. And we saw the Commanders cut it down to 11, and I think the Eagles scored and then fumble a kickoff return. That was just a backbreaker. But all things considered, a great season. The Commanders get into the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1991, I believe. They now can claim that they've been to an NFC Championship game more recently than those boys in Dallas.
Facts. Facts.
See what happens when you get rid of a scum owner? You prosper.
Like the narrative in Dallas is like just wait until Jerry kicks the bucket, and that's a sad way to think about how to turn around your franchise. I'm just gonna say that, man. But
Mm.
I hate to say it, and I don't wish any bad on anybody, but at this point, it's just the damn truth. At this point, and we can get into that on a later episode. But yeah, the turnaround happened once we got rid of Dan Snyder. But back to you two before I make my final points. But yeah,
Yeah,
man,
and
that's
then the future Washington set up with a ton of cap space, and there will definitely be improvements made in the roster. So, obviously, any quarterback is going to have somewhat of a sophomore slump because teams are going to adjust to the schemes
mhm,
from the previous year. They have a whole offseason of film. We kind of saw that with CJ Stroud a little bit. And then,
yeah,
injuries play a factor. Stroud lost two of his three top receivers and had some struggles at times throughout the year. So how will JD5 handle the sophomore year where everybody has film and everybody sees the schemes of the offense? Also the Commanders were relatively, I believe, and Dre, you can correct me, that were relatively healthy throughout the year. So see if that continues because injuries do play a big factor in the playoffs. Sometimes the war of
yeah,
attrition, but I mean with the cap space and the young talent on the team, I mean this is a team. I don't want to start the clock yet, but at the same time, you kind of have to because you were 12-5. You got to the NFC Championship game. You beat the number one seed in the NFC at their place, and Jaden Daniels on a rookie contract. The clock kind
yeah.
of does have to start, and you have a
That,
lot of cap
that,
space.
that's that's the and that last point is the reason why I believe you're right that the clock, right, rather if we wanted to or not, has started is because on his first year on his rookie deal, he got you to the NFC Championship game. So it's like he kind of proved that he can uplift a team with this amount of talent. And to your other point, when it comes to the injury, yeah, we was relatively healthy. I would say having Kosi out at left guard was a major problem for that in the championship game. And also, we had wide receivers like they're not like big names, but we had Noah Brown, the wide receiver that made the infamous Hail Mary catch, and then we also had KJ Osborne off waivers, and he only had like a few snaps with us, and we never see him again for the rest of the season. So. I think if we had a little bit wide receiver help with Terry, that might have would made a difference. But yeah, outside maybe like Eckler being injured for mostly the middle part of the season, we was like a relatively healthy team on both sides of the ball, which was good. And yeah, just looking at their schedule alone, like we playing the NFC North, and there's a lot of bad blood with us in the North now. with certain teams, so they're going to get up for those matchups. And we also play the AFC West. So yes, Patrick Mahomes, Denver made the playoffs. Pretty much we're playing the two conferences that had three teams that made the playoffs on each side. So that's why we going out the gate. Our strength of schedule is already like top five with that alone, and then we got to deal with division battles with the Eagles. Even though Dallas had a bad season, you got to think with Dak and CD being fully healthy going to next season, that's going to make a difference. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see what moves we make because we got a bit of a tougher schedule than we did last year. So I feel like we got to make some moves in that department. But going back to championship game, it wasn't the Eagles players per se or the coaching staff that won in that game. The real champion of that game was their fucking GM because literally every single pick that he made in the offseason had an impact in that game, and they're up for a freaking award. Like you got Saquon, who's up for Offensive Player of the Year and MVP for this year. Then you got Vic Fangio, who's up for Assistant Coach of the Year. He's definitely going to be one of the top two candidates, probably between him and Cliff for that award, or some of the Lions coordinators because they always do a good job. Then you had this dude, Bond. He's up for Defensive Player of the Year. I didn't know that. And then your two DBs between Cooper Dean and Quayon Mitchell, they going for a Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. So imagine just hitting all of those type of awards in one offseason because this is an Eagles team that was in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. And then last year they won like 10 games straight before they had that fall off. So this is not a bad. They never had a bad roster before these players. Now they added these players. So we're going to get into predictions after we talk about the next game. But Eagles did build this. Howard did build this roster up to be a Super Bowl contending team. And this message is not for Javon. This message is not for my homegirl Kiera. Shout out to you. Shout out to my boy Ross. And this message is not to all the Eagles fans that didn't bother me on Sunday, but to all you other motherfuckers out there.
Damn.
All you other motherfuckers out there. The way y'all waited for our downfall like that, y'all better win this motherfucking game in next week. I promise you, y'all better win this game next week. Y'all promise. The way y'all paraded in that city like y'all thought y'all won the Super Bowl already, I pray to y'all. Y'all better win this championship game. On my mama, this next episode is gonna be bad for y'all. On my mama, this next episode is gonna be bad for y'all. Oh, I can't wait for y'all downfall. I'm ready for that shit. Oh yes. You think I'm gonna be humble? Nah, motherfucker. I'm salty as a motherfucker. I've been waiting to record this shit for a minute now just to get this pain out, bro. Fuck y'all, man. We ain't have to I'm pissed. 'Cause it blew me. 'Cause I was like. If we was gonna go like that, we should have done that shit in Detroit, not Philly, man. Not to these niggas, man. We shouldn't be going out to them like this, man. I can understand Detroit because Detroit's the same thing. They took both games were the same thing. The only difference was we turned the ball over. That was really it. Because it wasn't like Jaden was moving the ball down the field on their ass either. Jaden was getting crazy, especially when he had that QB sneak into the end zone. Like, come on. Jaden was ready, but Jaden came ready to play. Nah, everybody else, I can't answer that for everybody else, but we know Jaden Daniels came to play. But it's a team sport. Shout out to Louisville for trying to stop the tush push, man. I can't blame the man for effort, bro. I can't.
It's season's on the line. Like I don't blame him at all. It's OC as hell.
I didn't know that was a rule either. The rest was like, "Hey, look, bro, we just gonna award this touchdown. You keep bullshit." I didn't know that was.
I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know. I thought. I didn't know you could do that either.
Hey, yo, them refs was like, "Hey, yo, I'm trying to beat the traffic, man. You got me effed up out here." That's what that was.
I say you literally like the ball was literally like on the white line, dog. Like how far can you go, bro? That was crazy.
But yeah, before I go, the Detroit Lions fans that wished on our downfall, we beat y'all niggas, so y'all can shut the fuck up. The Chicago Bears, we beat y'all, so y'all can shut the fuck up. Y'all Dallas fans, y'all don't even believe in y'all own quarterback. Y'all don't believe in y'all own owner. Y'all don't even believe in y'all new coach. Y'all don't believe in y'all new D coordinator. Y'all can shut the hell up. Y'all had to say those tweets in the drafts for 2 weeks because the people told me we was going to be seeing that out of Tampa. That's what they told me, Dave. Why they lie to me? Why they lie to me, Dave? Why they lie to me, T?
We've seen a whole lot of capping, bro.
I'm like,
Um,
it's a whole lot of lying going on. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot
It's
going
just like
on right now.
it's crazy. Like a lot of teams that didn't make it into the playoffs had a lot to say about what we're doing. It just feels
a
like
fan base
jealousy to
that
me.
has absolutely nothing for it in the last 20 something years since they went to that one Super Bowl. Bears fans really do be barking and chirping
I did,
for
I
no
did not
reason, bro.
realize that to this year. I did not like 'cause we played them last year. I didn't really hear that, and they beat the brakes off of. So to hear all this noise, this shit was crazy to me. Cause they make it seem like that we're really beefing with them, but we not. Like I don't care about playing the Bears.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I didn't
yeah,
know either.
y'all beat us this year, and yeah, y'all might have quote unquote fleeced us, but the way that Bryce Young,
Yeah, I'm
I
not sure
don't
about
know.
that. I think we set up more for success than they are.
Exactly. Start off with a new coach again, and a young
Yeah,
quarterback's got to learn a second system
Mhm.
again. And the Bears go through this cycle where they have a lame duck coach. They bring in a young quarterback or draft a young quarterback, fire coach, set up the young quarterback for failure. Now,
Mhm.
Ben Johnson, we'll see what he can do, but they go through this cycle and then they talk a lot of trash for literally like no reason, bro. Like, y'all ain't accomplished shit.
hey, y'all, you talk about the Cowboys. Y'all talk about the Cowboys living in the '90s. Are the Bears still living off the '85? That's what it sounds like. They're still living off of that.
They're like Notre Dame or some shit like that. Like they living off of this like 1991 like championship. Like bro, that was so like Michael Jackson was barely popping when y'all last won a Super Bowl. Like let's stop the brakes on y'all, man. Like get the fuck out my face with this.
I'm about to say he was still in the Jackson Five when they won the Super Bowl. I think.
Like y'all greatest success was making a Super Bowl with Cal Orrin, but y'all best player was Devin Hester, a kick return specialist. That was your
Oh
best player on the
yeah,
team.
yeah, Rex
That was
Grossman.
your best
Yeah,
player on the team, bro. Like
yeah, Rex Grossman.
and then he gave y'all and then Hester gave y'all seven. Y'all still couldn't do nothing with it, man. Like
They got to that Super Bowl off defense because they had Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs and Peanut Tillman. So they got to that Super Bowl off defense because that was a pretty good defense, and they had Devin Hester.
but they didn't get the job done, so fuck them.
Nah,
Except for
nah.
you, Devin Hester. You know you go over here. But yeah, fuck the Bears, man. Honestly, fuck that whole division entirely, man. I ain't got time for it. Might as well just might as well just rattle them all, man. We see y'all next season, man. It should be some good matches. I can't wait for that. But yeah, good season, Cardiac Commanders. For a generation of fans like myself, we always gonna remember this because it was a lot of fun. It was some excitement. It was a lot of stress as well. But making an NFC championship game, having us believe that we can make it to the Super Bowl, it can't get no better than that, man. So shout out to that team, man. I hope we can build to a better team for next season. Keep this momentum going. Now for the main event game against Sunday, we have another title match between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey man, two things is guaranteed when we go there. We're gonna have a controversial call, and then we're gonna have an in the game play that everybody's gonna be discussing for a whole week. And as always, that game gave us both. So, fellas, I'm gonna start with you, T. What's your thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs going yet to another Super Bowl by defeating the Buffalo Bills?
We need an investigation, bruh. We need an
So too.
investigation, dog.
So too.
There's something sinister going on underneath Arrowhead Stadium, bro. They are sacrificing children, animals, elderly people.
Wolfman.
Where's my boy at with the wolf mask that was Robert Bates, man? His
I
son
haven't
is
seen it.
sacrificed.
Hey man, they say he in jail, but I ain't seen that man since.
Like, what is going on in Kansas City, bro? How do they keep getting away with this, bro? Think about it. They get a very controversial fourth down stop, and then they go down and score a touchdown to put them ahead. Like, this type of stuff only happens to the Chiefs, right? And sometimes when you're really good, sometimes people say, well, sometimes you create your own luck, but nah, these niggas are just lucky, bro. Like,
Super lucky.
Dalton Kincaid, bro. Like we said it in the chat. I was like, Spags is going to send some type of heat that he hasn't sent
Hmm.
all game. And what did he do?
The
He
corner
sent a
blitz.
corner blitz,
Yeah,
almost damn near perfectly timed it, everything. But somehow, some way, Josh Allen
Off
somehow
his
got the
back
ball
foot.
downfield off his back foot, right into Dalton Kincaid's hands, and flat out just dropped it. Now, is it a tough catch? Yeah, it's a tough catch. Dive in on the ground, but is it a catch that an NFL wide receiver should make? Yes. But one thing that I think Buffalo is going to regret is James Cook only had, I think, 18 total touches or maybe 20 touches. I think he had
something
like
like
18 rushes. I don't know if he
that.
caught any passes. I don't remember him catching any passes. So we'll say 18 touches. I have to. We can go and look that
I
up. But
think
anyways,
it was 18. Yeah, it was something like that.
yeah. But James Cook should have had 25 or 30 because when he had the ball, he was very effective, and it seemed like Buffalo was able to run the ball
Hmm.
pretty strong, but it's like they didn't do it enough. Josh Allen made some great plays, especially on a couple of fourth downs, and right before the end of the half, when it seemed like they were falling
Out of it.
behind when Kansas City went up by 11. And he came back right down and drove the ball down the field. Also, the Chiefs did what they had to do, man. Like they just find a way to beat Buffalo in the playoffs. Mahomes is 4-0 against Josh Allen in the postseason. So this is one of the things where, we're seeing a team that might not say blow teams off the door, but they just find ways to win the games. And they're one win away from a three-peat, which is unprecedented in the NFL, and we haven't seen it in the NBA since 2002. And three-peat is one of the hardest things to accomplish in sports. So we're literally one game away from seeing something wild, but it's just wild how all the bounces seem to go Kansas City's way. But that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like what's going on in Kansas City. You know how like when you walk outside and you see leaves on the ground and they just circle around. They
Yeah.
just circle around like, and you think that's just because of the wind, like blowing them. No, that's witchcraft. Like that's all that shit. That all that's happening in Kansas City right now. Um, but what was interesting to me, and yeah, James Cook had 13 carries and three catches. Definitely should have got the ball a lot more. Yeah, he should have had like at least 10 more carries. But what I found interesting is that um, we saw the Chiefs go up 21-10. We thought, this, the game was going to get blown open and the Bills weren't going to be able to stand a chance, but they were able to get that touchdown to cut it down to 5. And one thing that I found interesting, where the Chiefs did something bad, but it still went their way, is that they had I think an offsides or an encroachment or something, or some penalty on the extra point. So it would have been 21-17. But instead, like they had an offside, so they put it at the 2 yard line. And so, when you have something like that, like you're most likely probably a lot of like 9 times out of 10 the coach is gonna go for two in that situation. So Bills did not get the 2 point conversion. So
Hmm.
instead of being down 4, they're down 5, and so now they score again. They take the lead. So now you have to go for two because you're up by 1. You want to go for two to at least like
Make it
have
a
a
three
field
point
goal
game.
lead,
Right.
and again you don't get the 2 point conversion. So I
Hmm.
think that if that penalty doesn't happen on that extra point, and the Bills are still able to score again, the Bills will be up 3, and I think the trajectory of the game changes because the Chief like the Bills had all the momentum then, and they still had all the momentum because even on that drive where it was they converted on fourth and one once, and then uh, once they got like I guess past midfield or in the Chiefs territory, that controversial fourth down where it was on the line, maybe not on the line, or it was like by like inches um, that Josh Allen didn't get the fourth down. I think in that situation, you're probably up 3 at that point, and maybe the Chiefs maybe the Chiefs do score a touchdown in that they still take the lead, but instead of you having to go and tie the game, you're going to take the lead, and so I think it would change things a little bit as far as like how the game goes. Maybe the Chiefs still would have won. Um, maybe that last drive, Spagnuolo still dials up a blitz, and
Hmm.
and Bills have to punt, and the Chiefs go and kick a field goal to win the game or something. So I think I don't know what the Bills have to do. I think Josh Allen has to move to the NFC or something, or I don't know. Like I don't know. This is starting to feel like LeBronto in some way. Uh,
Oh
yeah,
shit.
this is kind of feeling like that because I don't know how they're going to be able to get it done, especially when you have Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Josh Allen's beaten Lamar in the playoffs twice, but still, you still got, and then you got C.J. Stroud coming, and then you might have some other, and then who knows what's going to happen to the Chargers? Maybe they'll get better. You have, and then yeah, all you have like all these teams in the AFC. So yeah, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. Like we've seen this before with teams that have this championship pedigree and they don't look as good. I remember even like the Warrior, like even like Golden State when they had their run and they weren't looking as good like when they during the 2015 to 2019 years where when they weren't looking as dominant but they were still finding ways to win. This is kind of like what it feels like, but in a different sense. Yeah, I mean it's just hard. It's just hard to beat the Chiefs. Like like I said one time, like you gotta beat them for 60 minutes and then come back the next day and see if you really beat them. So um yeah, it's tough for the Bills, man. I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever get over the hump.
These Bills are it's funny because it deals with Andy Reid. They kind of giving me Donovan McNabb old Philly vibes before they had T.O.,
Hmm.
where they would get to the NFC Championship game all the time, but they would just lose. Even though this is like they lose to the different opponents, it's like they get to this point, like, but this is always like their peak. So it kind of remind me of that. But the funny thing about this whole thing between the Chiefs and the Bills is it's like the Bills did themselves in twice because the draft of Patrick Mahomes, you traded the Chiefs with for that pick, which ended up being Patrick Mahomes. So you gave the Chiefs Patrick Mahomes, and then and just this past draft, you traded with them so they could get Worthy, and then he balls out on you too. So it was like everything that the Chiefs have done to y'all is because of you. You directly ended the Chiefs this dynasty because you have faith in Tyrod Taylor and Nathan Peterman. That's what you do. Now, mind you, we're not going to sit here and act like we all knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be this all-time great quarterback, damn near before 30 years old. We're not going to say that. So we're not going to act like everybody was just like, why? Because he wasn't even drafted number one. So nobody even see him that high in the draft. But really, we was thinking about Mitch Trubisky versus Sean Watson. We was just trying to get over that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, back in that day. So we're not going to pretend it's like, oh yeah, we seen this from Patrick Mahomes, but like he fell in a great situation. He had Andy Reid. Now he has like some good defenses that kind of help him when the offense is not clicking. And then he had the Tyreek Hill years when they was throwing over the top on everybody. So just to see that somehow those two drafts alone is what did the Bills in is just kind of crazy. But anyway, like, we see it all the time in different eras of sports where you got like the '90s Utah Jazz, the 2000 Sacramento Kings. You got different eras of Buffalo Bills, the Vikings. Like there's always going to be like great teams, but when you going against sometimes like generational players, it's just difficult to get over that hump because they always just gonna make that one play, or it's always gonna be this one call that kind of just derails anything you have going. And Josh Allen has been playing good against the Chiefs, so it's not like, we see with like Lamar that he kind
Mhm.
of freezes up, or with any other QBs outside Joe Burrow. Like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow does play well. It's just the Bengals plays better as a team against the Chiefs than the Bills. Like the Bills is always missing like two or three key plays that helps them win this game. Because even RJ3 pointed out where on that fourth down play, and we all know that Spag was going to send that blitz, Josh Allen missed the protection. He could have slid somebody for that blitz to pick up that blitz, but he didn't. So is this like a pressure moment where he was just in the moment and he didn't see it? Or so it's like it's those little tiny details that can probably help him out that he could because but you also just need some luck too, because for every Kincaid drop, we see a David Tyree catch. We see somebody for the Patriots like Julian Edelman catching it on the sideline, or we see who was for the Steelers like Santonio Holmes like to like
I
tiptoe.
like
Like you need breaks like that in order to win big games and win championships. And so far, the Bills just don't have those big moments. Like Patrick Mahomes drove it and got in field goal range in 13 seconds. Those are like eerie generational ways of like
yeah.
losing. Like the Chiefs has beat these teams like in so many different ways. It's just insane at this point.
And most of the time, I mean, it's not really. I mean, yeah, Josh Allen has something to do with it, but it's not like he's turning the
Yeah,
ball over, like you
he
said.
did miss a throw last game. He did miss a mean throw last game. That
He
was
did, yeah.
that was
The
less
one,
difficult
yeah,
than what he did in this past Sunday.
yeah, and in these 4 games, he's only had one turnover. So yeah, like other than like just some missed throws and
Hmm.
like maybe just some not not recognizing certain blitzes or kind of getting out schemed a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you can say about it. But even in this game, when they didn't convert on fourth down, that when Dalton Kincaid didn't catch the ball, the defense had two like two sets of downs to stop the Chiefs
Hmm.
and to force them to punt or to force them into a field goal to get the ball back with at least
Enough
a
time to tie the
respectable
game.
amount of time to go
Yeah.
try to go try to score again. So and even like you referenced the 13 seconds from 2 or 3 seasons ago, where Travis Kelsey was getting open in the middle
Hmm.
of the field for them to kick a field goal to send it to overtime. Some of it, I mean, it's been the defense that has given up some things. It's been Josh Allen maybe not recognizing certain things from the defense. It's been coaching. It's maybe certain receivers not getting the ball enough with Stephon Diggs or James Cook not getting the ball enough. I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like if the Chiefs play the Bills in like a 7 game series, I don't know if the Bills win more than one time. One or two. I think that's just they just have their number. Like or they're just extremely lucky when they play them.
Yeah, I feel like Buffalo. The only way they're ever gonna get to the Super Bowl is if somebody somehow knocks Kansas City off, and like the division round or something. You know what this is? This is like the Knicks and the Bulls versus MJ. And the one time the Knicks got to the finals with Patrick Ewing when MJ retired or something. It's gonna take something like that for Buffalo to get over the hump, or maybe Cincinnati would just have to beat Kansas City and then somehow Buffalo would beat Cincinnati or something, bro. Because yeah, for real. But it just seems like Buffalo just cannot get over the hump against this team and this player. Like, do you see Josh Allen's face after the game? I haven't seen
He,
somebody look that defeated in a long time, bro. He just looked absolutely defeated because he's like, what else can you really do?
and not even to be funny, but like I saw a defeated man. Like that looked like a defeated man right there. Because like when you lose to the same opponent so many times, especially what this is like their third conference championship game, like
The
that
second
takes a
loss.
toll. But yeah, that takes a toll, man. But it's funny because he still escapes the narrative and the slander that he's supposed to.
Yeah, if it's been Lamar Jackson 0 and
Yeah,
4 with Patrick Mahomes in the
yeah,
playoffs, man, he'll be getting killed.
yeah. Which is still crazy to me because you gotta keep that same energy. Joe Burrow is the only active QB that beat Pat Mahomes in a playoff game. So until somebody else does that, you gotta give everybody else that fair criticism. Because it's not like the Buffalo Bills was like a 10-7, like 11. They won freaking like 13 freaking games or whatever, right? Like 13, 14 games or whatever, right?
I think
So
yeah, number 13. Yeah.
like you had an MVP candidate, like so we gotta keep that same energy like you had with Lamar and the Ravens. It doesn't matter, and stop saying that Josh Allen was up there by himself. James Cook was 1,000 yard back, getting multiple touchdowns each game. Like, stop saying that he didn't have enough help. They traded for Amari Cooper. Now, if you want to have a conversation about Amari Cooper, if he was being watched or anything, that's a subject for another day. But start acting like that they didn't try with what they could do, because I understand they was cash strapped. They lost a lot of players, but to still win 13, 14 games, you got to consider yourself a good team. It's like how we talk in the past episode, what's the expectation for the Cavaliers because they were at one point on a 70 game pace. When you win a certain amount of games, that whole, oh, this is just a fun feeling thing kind of goes out the window. You got to actually show like, this is not like a fluke. See, because look what the Vikings did. Look what the Vikings did. So when you go in with that mindset, you dominated the Broncos in a wild card game, and then you beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the next game. Going to a championship, you are a capable team of winning this game, especially since you was the only team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. Outside the Broncos game at the end, but we know we're not counting that shit. So
Oh, the Chiefs
it,
really lost only 2 times. Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
I'm saying one because we all know, like
Yeah. Yeah. We know they sat everybody.
we
Yeah.
yeah. So the Bills, like, welcome to Sacramento hell.
No, it's just like they're that franchise, or they're just going to go down in history as those like franchise or one of those teams that one of the best teams to not win a championship. I think
Yeah.
the best team in my opinion that never won a championship was I put up there like one of those like early '90s Bills teams and the 2002 Sacramento Kings. Those are like the teams
I'll
that I'm
give you
like,
another one.
yeah.
The 90 was a 97, 98 Vikings. It was Randy Moss rookie year. They were 15
Yeah,
and 1. They had
yeah,
Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter, and
I
they were
remember
up by 7, and they had a 30-yard field goal, and I think it was Chris Anderson
Oh
because they were
yeah.
talking about it on one of
that.
the football shows earlier this week, and he missed a 30-yard field goal. The Falcons, this was a good Falcon team. The Falcons were 14 and 2, but that Minnesota team was so good. They played a 14 and 2 Falcons team, and they were like a 10-point favorite at home. That's how good that Minnesota team was. They were supposed to win that game. And Anderson misses the 30-yard field goal. Atlanta goes down, ties the game, and then they get the ball first in overtime, and they win the game in overtime.
Mhm.
And that was probably, it's not talked about much recently, but if you go back, that 97 or 98 Vikings team was absolutely stacked. Honestly, that was the team that really made me a fan of football. Like, seeing like Randy Moss was like the first player I really watched like as far as the NFL, and that team was just like ridiculous. Like, and they didn't get
They,
it done.
they had John Randall on that team on defense,
Yeah,
right?
John
Yeah.
Randall,
Hmm.
Robert Smith at running back. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was a good team. Obviously, the undefeated Patriots that didn't get it done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But they
I
won.
think that
They
I
won
think I
Super
think
Bowl.
that
So I see what you're saying.
that I think that's my top team that never won a Super Bowl because it was like y'all damn near just croak at the last game to fucking Eli of all people, man. I deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And
But this
like I,
that's this kind of like what this is kind of leading up to, because we're all anticipating, just like that season where the Patriots were going undefeated. We were anticipating them to finish the season undefeated for them to be the first team to go 19-0, I think,
Hmm.
and to have the better record than the 72 Dolphins. I think they were the 42 Dolphins were 14-0 or 17-0 to all end it out, but
Yeah, I think they were
we
14
were
0, then they won the three playoff games, so they were 17 and 0 in
Yeah.
yeah,
total.
but we were anticipating the Patriots to win that Super Bowl, just like how we're anticipating the Chiefs to potentially three-peat. So I
But
don't know. Yeah, yeah,
not to cut you off, I would say, but on paper, I feel like the Eagles have a better roster
they do.
on paper.
They
See
This was
do.
that?
this was the same
Yeah.
thing 2 years ago. This is literally the same story 2 years ago. Literally the
See the
same
thing with
story.
the see the thing with that Patriots team in '07, they by far had the best team and best roster, and they just played a Giants team that
Was
got
hot.
hot at the right time and played them early, so they kind of picked one tendencies, but you won't say that that Giants roster was as good as New England's. I think the
No.
difference is that this time, and even when they beat the Eagles the first time, the Eagles on paper have a better roster um, than Kansas City. I
Hmm.
don't know if they have a Kansas City also has a better coach and better quarterback. So we'll see if that'll be enough. But if the Eagles beat the Chiefs, I don't know how big of an upset it would be. It would be big because they beat the two-time champs, but on paper, is it really an upset?
They're gonna make
No.
it a
Yeah.
big deal because they beat the two-time defending champion. And it's like Jalen Hurts. It's gonna be one of those like Steve Young. He got the monkey off his back type deal, and he conquered his demons because one of the big plays from the first matchup was his fumble that led to a Kansas City touchdown. So yeah, can understand the Chiefs are favorite because they got the better record and everything. Even though if we put their seasons, if compare their two seasons, it's just like Philly's been playing better ball than them slightly down the stretch in the regular season. Like Kansas City kind of caught on only in like December. But if the game is close, that gives Kansas City the edge because they've been used to winning close games. And they got a little bit more composure and everything. But just like any other game, it's going to come down what Kansas City does with Saquon. I think that's going to be the big difference in that game. Like, what's Saquon's production going to look like against Kansas City? I think that's the first priority and the first major key to that game. I don't know what y'all think.
Yeah, I think like the one time that we saw Patrick Mahomes lose a Super Bowl, he was running for his life. So I think
Hmm.
if the Eagles defense and like that defensive line with Jordan
Jalen
Carter,
Carter
yeah,
and Jordan
Jalen
Davis
Carter, Jordan Davis, um, Smith and Zach Bond and them, like if they
got
can if
Williams on the edge.
yeah,
Yeah,
wait, yeah, if you can get that front seven to at least like hurry up Mahomes, or like you ain't even gotta like really like sack him that much. Just be like just kind of get him like running around and kind of like just having to make quick like rash decisions like every play. Like the games that I've seen like Kansas City lose like with Mahomes is like the team that won has always like forced Mahomes to like to not be comfortable. Like I remember when Cincinnati played them in the AFC Championship game, they weren't really like sacking Patrick, but Mahomes would
they got him
like
off the
kind of
field.
they would try, like the Chiefs are trying to like kind of roll him out to help buy him time, and that still wasn't enough. So I think if they can, and we saw how Tampa Bay was like forcing them to run east and west instead of north and south. So if the Eagles can somehow be able to do that, to be able to get a lot of QB hurries and to just even like get like a little like push here and there after the after the throw, or just to get like some few sacks to start the game, then I think that's the X factor. And obviously, like you need 100+ yards from Saquon. You need Saquon to ball out, and then Jalen Hurts has to find a way to not hold on to the ball for so long. Like he needs to be able to either like make plays himself or get it to his playmakers. I think those are the key factors in the Super Bowl.
But to your point,
Yeah,
Dave, we also got to remember that in that Super Bowl against Tampa, Mahomes was down three starting linemen.
That's true.
So all they really did was just blitz the whole game because there was no time for him to kind of get any kind of playoff at that point. He was really just back there by his damn self for
Yeah.
majority of the game because they couldn't block. It was like it was a mismatch in the trenches because damn near the whole line was gone. And I know you're pros, you get paid and everything, but to go from like backups after most of your starting and after like 2 weeks of playoffs, that's a difficult task to overcome for anybody.
Hmm.
But one thing I give Kansas City credit for is they always got something left in that playbook for the end. And Andy Reid is always good because for the first matchup, what they picked up was Philly's motion on defense. They noticed that they had a guy spying somebody that always went in motion with somebody on Kansas City side, and they use that to their advantage because they have a motion one way and then they snap it and he go the other way. He had a little bit of a first step in quick speed, and that's when they had like somebody like Kadarius Toney getting those touchdowns in that Philly game because they pick up on that matchup. So I want to see what Andy Reid has saw in Philly's defense this year that kind of gives them like we can we've been waiting for this because we can use this motion or we can use this defense instead of to our advantage rather than theirs. But Philly got some ballers in the DB, so it's really going to be a chess matchup for the coaches, in my opinion, as well, because you got a great coach in Andy Reid that likes to dial up everything, and Philly's defense has some dogs over there, so it's
I
really
will
going to be
say,
a matchup. Yeah, T.
I was gonna say, outside of like the Mahomes fumble and maybe one or two other possessions, the Chiefs offense was moving the ball at will versus that Buffalo defense this
Hmm.
past Sunday. You take away
Okay.
that Mahomes fumble, I think they would have scored a touchdown almost every possession they had in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. They were
Hmm.
moving the ball very easily against that Bills defense. So to your point about Andy Reid and how he saves a lot of stuff for the postseason and some of the bigger games. So I'm sure he's going to have something up his bag for the Eagles defense. And then, like you said, Spags is going to have something for Jalen Hurts and Saquon. Um, that Eagles passing game is going to have to do something, which is going to be hard because the Chiefs defense is up there as well. So this is going to be a chess match
Hmm.
of Andy Reid versus Fangio, and then on the other side, Spags versus the Eagles offense.
Yeah,
It's going
versus
to be
Kellen Moore.
interesting what the coaches see on the film as we lead up to the game next Sunday. So,
And
but yeah, I just want to point out how easily the Chiefs offense moved the ball. It seemed like their offense was about as fluid as it's been all season.
and
Hollywood Brown got active, and then Worthy got active as well.
And to your point, T, what I was just thinking about when you were saying that was going back to our game. Zach Ertz, a vet tight end, he had a career day dinner. He had like 10 catches for over 100 yards against the Eagles defense. I know people will say, well, some of that was like, because we had no choice but to pass the ball. But, you would think if we was doing that against them, they got some crazy setups for like Kelsey coming up because, in my opinion, I think this might be Kelsey's last game if they win the Super Bowl. I think he's going to go out on a three-peat because you
I
kind of see
hope
him.
I'm tired of Taylor Swift, dog. I'm so sick of it, dog.
Because if you peep and he's kind of getting into other things outside football, the podcast, he's getting into acting. Those are telltale signs of somebody that's getting ready to get into his second act of his celebrity status into his life. So I really think they might try to do like a feature game with Kelsey because not only he might be a mismatch, but I think they can really exploit the tight end matchup because not they don't just got one, but they got two tight ends that are good with catching the ball and getting wide opens and open areas, especially when they play in like a zone. So I think it's going to be a really nice chess matchup against these coaches. Like I know it's kind of like the Super Bowl people don't want, but from a football fan standpoint, like we got two good teams, we got great players. We got like an MVP candidate that's a part of this game. We got someone that won multiple MVPs, multiple Finals MVPs. I mean, you couldn't ask for a kind of a better matchup, in my opinion, for the Super Bowl. So I'm excited, but we making next tier. I ain't rooting for no team in my division to win the fucking Super Bowl. So y'all already know, Devil's Magic. I don't care. Sacrifice as many Bamas you need to under that stadium. I ain't rooting for Eagles, dog. It's Patty Mahomes for the 3P for me, dog. I don't know what y'all got, man, but that's how I'm feeling. I'm gonna just put it out there.
As much as I'm tired of the Devil Magic, I think the Devil Magic prevails one more time. I think it's gonna come down to Andy Reid is going to dial up something. Sirianni, as much heat as he got last year, I'll give him this. They got out to a 2-2 start, and there was definitely a lot of heat, and he turned it around. But until I just don't know right now, until I see it, I'm gonna pick up the Chiefs because unless it's Tom Brady or like you said, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who is beating this guy in the postseason? Who is beating Mahomes and Reed combo in the postseason? And I just don't think the combination of Jalen Hurts and Sirianni are going to beat these guys. I could be wrong, but until I see it, I gotta go with the Devil Magic of Kansas City. So
I want to say this first because I think Spagnuolo, how I describe him, he's that defensive coordinator. He's a secret weapon, but not really a secret weapon. But what makes him like I think one of the best defensive coordinators I think the NFL has had is you never know what he's going to come up with. As far as like you know the blitz packages. His blitz packages are Hall of Fame. He's won like three other Super Bowls with them. I know he won two of them with the Giants. So like I say that I'm interested to see what happens there and how the Eagles deal with it, particularly how Jalen Hurts deals with it. But as far as who am I going to pick to win this game? I've already said it before. I don't surrender to my ops. I don't. I don't do it. I
Stay 10
know
toes down, Dave. Stay
hey
10 toes down,
hey
Dave.
hey 10 toes down. Hey, as long as I got 10 toes, they gonna stay down. Like that's how it's gotta be, man. Like I I know the story would be cool to have a team three-peat. I think it'll be the first three-peat in one of the U.S. professional sports since the Lakers did it. I I you know me, I'm walking by faith and not by sight. Y'all talk about yeah, ain't seen it had done before. I haven't seen it done before either, but I'm gonna see it on Sunday. So I'm rooting for the Eagles.
They say if I'm not breathing, that means they don't have no more haters.
That 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 that. Because look, man. Because look, why would you surrender to your ops when the game is still going on? Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
No, I mean, hey,
The,
look,
the
man.
job the job is not finished.
Hey, look, man. I said a long time ago, man. I can't. I might be against your agenda, but I don't knock your agenda, man. So it's like we all got agendas, man. We all got different takes and everything. It's okay, bro. We gotta be different, man. Look, man. Maybe if I was in a different division, maybe I'll feel differently. But today I don't, and I won't. So shit.
Hey,
But
a black quarterback winning the Super Bowl. So it just
hey,
depends on whether they getting their first one or whether they getting their fourth one. So
I guess that's one thing we can say. We can look forward to Black History Month if we even still have that shit.
man, we need to wrap this up, bro. 'Cause I can go on a tangent right now, man.
But yo, so yeah, that's our episode. Right now, we still on a holding pattern because we waiting for some of these NBA trades or some of these bluffs, I call them, because there's always smoke before an NBA trade deadline. But it seems like the only thing that's going down with trading wise is in the W. But we're going to talk about that in another episode when we get our boy BT back, so we can really go over what's going down in women's hoop this year with the W unrivaled and women's college basketball. But yeah, man, once we get some like real trades going down, we might pop up back here. But yeah, definitely look forward to us after the Super Bowl so we can have our reaction to that game. Look forward to Kendrick's Super Bowl halftime show. You know, SZA gonna be there, so
Yeah,
that's always a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah.
I think it's always good when SZA
Hey
wants to come
man,
around.
I need to know what her after party is when she comes to Charlotte, bro.
Hey, say less, say less, say less.
I gotta see the greatest BBL ever made in person, bro.
He,
I promise you use our whole control royalties for that joint. Cause ain't no, cause that doctor, you did an immaculate job. That's what some of y'all youngers need to go to. Cause no, I'm not making, no, 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 we're not gonna go there.
yeah, I'm about to say
No, no,
that.
no, no,
That's
no,
all.
no. But shoot, man, before we hop off this joint, pause.
Yeah.
What we tell the people, man.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the pod, man. Like, share, subscribe. If you like this episode, hit the like button. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate everyone that subscribed to our channel, that has followed us on all podcast streaming platforms. We literally are at anywhere you get your podcasts. Amazon Music, uh, Spotify, Apple, anywhere. Like, and just like we said, YouTube. Like we have YouTube podcasts, so make sure you follow us. Follow us on Instagram as well, Facebook, X. Um, yeah, man. Like we gonna be back at the Super Bowl. We're gonna get more into hoops. We're gonna see if we can have some more special guests come on. And again, if you want a shout out or you want to come on an episode, make sure that you look in the episode description, hit that link, follow the instructions to get a shout out, or hit us up if you want to come on the show. So we appreciate everybody for listening and watching. And yeah, we got more great content on the way as usual.
And before I send us out, first I want to say I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. Um, Not even personally, contractually, we really can't say what we really want to say, but I do want to tell people, think positively, use sports as a way to bring people together. If your team is trash, you can always watch highlights of past players or past teams that were great to you in memory or anything like that, or watch any other highlights and stuff like that. Second, I just want to say condolences to all the family that was involved with the tragic accident in DC last night with the airplane helicopter crash. There were some figure skaters on that plane, but we also know a lot of family lost some members on that plane, sports and non-sports. So we just want to say condolences to our family and shout out to the first responders that did all they could last night in those conditions to try to do the best they can with what was going on. So we also want to pay our respects to everybody that was involved. But on a leaving on a positive note and everything, we appreciate y'all, man. We gonna get in these hoop talks, man, because we've been having some great discussions. Looking forward to it, man. But yeah, man, as always, be on the lookout for us, man. We got some major games that we got coming up soon, All-Star Weekend. But yeah, enjoy the Super Bowl. Get the wings, get the snacks out, take out that jersey, man. Hopefully the commercials are better, but they're already showing half of them before we even get to Super Bowl
Yeah.
Sunday. So I'm just looking forward to the trailers, to be honest with y'all.
Mhm.
So, hey, look, always tend to y'all loved ones. Always look out for y'all bros. Always look out for y'all sis. But hey, man, we Sass and Four. This my boy D, Dr. Esquire Day. And then I got the biggest plug in Shar T Hatch. This is Dre from PG. Cardiac Commanders, as always, we appreciate y'all for the season. Assassin 4, we out.
Stay on that boat. Stay on that boat, Teflon. Don't come back
Fuck
here.
Dan Snyder.